Hey guys, welcome back to the Alice podcast. Today I am here with Claire. So we recorded an episode with Claire, I think 3-4 weeks ago, which I'm going to have released before this episode. Yeah. Then I had Dr. LeBlanc, so I relocated the episode order and whatever. So I have Claire back on again by popular request because Claire's the best.
Thank you.
And guys, we have some exciting news. I spoke to you guys already on Team Alice about this, but people that might not know. So I asked our ladies if they enjoyed the longer form podcast, let's say 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 2 hours, right? LeBlanc was almost like 2 hours. And they told me that they enjoyed between 45 to 60 minutes was the general consensus. And I have so many projects going on right now. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to reduce the frequency of podcasts to probably from once every week to once every 2 weeks. Sometimes where I have a lot of episodes lined up, I'll do like maybe once a week, just depends so that it like flows.
Yeah.
And what that's going to do is going to allow me to focus really on the quality and not quantity, right? I don't want to just shoot a podcast every week just to shoot a podcast and put out content, right? I want to make sure that every podcast is good and has value to you guys. So what that means is I'm also going to have other special guests on, right? So I have a few lined up next, which is going to be, I'm really excited. We're going to have, by the time this podcast comes out, I think I'll be shooting with the next 3 people, but we're going to have Issa Pashini on. She's going to be coming down to Toronto the first week of January, and we're going to be shooting a podcast together. By the time this comes out, I don't know if you will have already seen that podcast. And then we're going to have Rudy Jambrosik on, also in Toronto. He is a pro judge, and he actually judged the Olympia bikini this year. So he has a ton of insight on what the judges are looking for the bikini category and obviously all the other categories, but we're going to focus more on bikini. And I've known him for 6-7 years now, and he is very good at judging, and he really understands the criteria of bikini. So I think having an Olympia bikini judge on is going to really be beneficial for you guys to hear and know. So I'll also ask him I'm going to ask him some tough questions too, and I'll ask him some questions that you typically don't hear people asking judges too. Okay. We're going to get into there. Yeah. I have some ideas. Put him on the spot. So yeah. And then we're going to be shooting with my athlete, Kelly Wright. She is a doctor. She's been a doctor for nearly 30 years now, and she's also an IFBB pro. So you got an IFBB pro who's a doctor, right? And she's like great in hormone health and gut health. And she's a pro, so she can relate to you guys, because a lot of your doctors, right? We know this too. Like they don't know what's going on with bodybuilding. The second they see your liver enzymes elevated, they freak out and you're dying and you need to stop this. And it's going to have a lot of value to have her on the podcast where she can give you insight from her perspective of actually being a bikini pro and medical doctor, right? Which is not very common at all.
It's with her, right? That you did the ebook for the gut health.
Gut health, yeah.
Yeah. Do you work with her on that
I send her all of my athletes' blood works as well, and she reviews them for me, and then I communicate with the athlete, right? So yeah, I think that's going to have a lot of value, and I really like Kelly, and she's just very knowledgeable, and she understands PDs, right? She understands like the hormone fluctuation because of prep and dieting and all that stuff too. And if you go to your family doctor, they have no idea about bodybuilding. They don't want to hear anything about PDs. It's right.
Yeah.
So that's going to give a lot of good insight. And then after, I'm going to have a special guest on. So I'm going to be getting Brett Contreras. I always say his last name wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is, on the podcast. So I'm going to be going to the women's seminar the 3rd week of January. And then I'm going to go down to Fort Lauderdale or Miami. I'm not sure which one he's in. I think it's Fort Lauderdale to his glute lab. And we're going to do a podcast together. So I love Brett. He's my friend, and he invented the glute hip thrust, right? He's the original glute guy. So he has so much insight on developing glutes, training women, right? And just all that good stuff. And I think it's going to add a lot of value too. And he had an idea, maybe we can like actually demonstrate exercises for you guys together and stuff like that too. So he's going to close down his gym, and we're going to do the podcast in his gym.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's a really good guy, very knowledgeable, has a lot of good insight, and you girls want to know how to build glutes, right? So I think between me and him, we're going to be a great team for that. So
you're going to have material to do an ebook, glute number 2.
No. I think that glute ebook that I made, I feel like it has everything in it that you possibly need to know. And the reason I put 100 hours into this thing, and it's 87 pages long, is so that I don't have to make a volume number 2. I want to make a volume number 1 that has everything you need to know. And it took months to make this thing. And actually on that topic, it's cool. I'm making it in French. It's already in French. I have a Spanish. It's almost done. Portuguese is done. And then we're going to have traditional and simplified Chinese, which are both done too. So we're going to have all those options for the glute ebook so that we can really have so many athletes be able to purchase it and be able to utilize it to grow their glutes. And I think it's a good idea, but obviously it took a lot of work to do. But yeah, not everyone speaks English. And a lot of Issa's fans are all Brazilian. They don't understand any English. So I think just having it in all those languages is going to really help get proper form out there and really teach athletes how to grow their glutes. Back to the podcasting. So you can tell that apparently I'm just going to be a traveling podcast maybe. So I'm actually buying equipment so I can go to Toronto. I'm going to hit those 3 podcasts in a row, Issa, Rudy, and Kelly. Then Fort Lauderdale, I'm going to do a podcast with Brett. And then we're actually going to have our Olympian athlete, Gabriela Mohammed on, and then our other IFB pro, Hong, on the same podcast. So we'll do the pros and with the Olympian Gabby, I think so. Those are going to be like the next five guests that we're going to have on. So it's going to be a little bit of different content than being in my house with my podcast room. And we'll get some new people on here to give their insights, and it should be great. One of the topics I wanted to talk to you guys about too is like why I increased my prices. And I didn't get asked this too much. I have some friends like asking me about my business model and stuff like that too. And I was at dinner with one of my clients after a show. We had like a client, all our clients were hanging out and eating. And her dad was asking me, he's like, why don't you build a team like with 20, 25, 30 coaches and like just teach them and then you could scale that way. Yeah. And this guy is a very successful business owner too. And he understands just like the business side of things and how to scale things. But so I explained to him that from an outside perspective, that seems like the way to go if you want to scale, because obviously Team Atlas needs me or it doesn't exist. But if you have so many other coaches, then you're not necessarily going to be focused on just coaching because you have to manage all these other coaches. So if you're changing your job, and I explained to him that there is teams like this that have so many coaches.
There's a lot of teams like it.
And the thing is, it's good if you want to get huge, but then it comes with a lot of drama, right? A lot of expectations from athletes and coaches. And then if you're dealing with 30 coaches, right? And they have athletes under them, right? Let's say like coach joins and then they have athletes and they leave and then there's drama and then they're friends with another coach and then that coach leaves too. Like we've seen it happen this year a lot. And it's not something I want to be involved in. And I don't want to manage other coaches. I want to coach athletes. So I explained to him, like, my goal isn't to just get Team Atlas as big as it can be and sacrifice quality and just have 1 million coaches under me, right? Because I know that no one could coach as good as me, even though I may teach them all my skills. So I've been doing this for 8 years now. Every day, all day, I focus on bikini, 12, 15, 16 hours a day, right? I can't teach someone to have my eye. You could teach them the basics, right? You could teach someone what the athlete needs, but you can't teach someone to be you.
Yeah.
So that's why I only have one, right? I got Savron, and I've been teaching this for 4 years, and it's a lot of work to teach her. She's getting really good at it, but I have no interest in building a team with 30 coaches, because then I'm going to be a coach manager instead of coaching athletes, which I love to do. And then it turns it more into a business for me. And whenever I turn something into a business and I focus less on what I'm passionate about, it doesn't work. So if I'm going to build a business, right, and I'm like, this is going to get me rich, but I don't like what I'm doing in the business. Let's say like it's a product or service I don't enjoy selling. You're not going to get rich doing that. And you're going to hate the business and you're going to stop it. So like when I was younger and I started my first company, I initially got into it because I loved what I was doing. And then I started getting more employees and I started scaling. And then I lost the love for it because I was just focused on the money aspect and not just doing because I love it. So then I sold the business and we didn't do it anymore because I didn't want to do it. And I never want to turn Team Atlas into that. And I told myself that since day one. And that's why I'm able to do this for 8 years now. And I still love it every day. I still enjoy doing it. I still love going to the shows. It's not like a drag, but if I have to manage 30 coaches, right? And they're dealing with other athletes and I'm managing this coach told this coach, I don't want to deal with this. And that's not fun for me.
Yeah.
And if you look at people like Elon Musk and Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Zuckerberg, they started these businesses based out of passion and not greed. And they have so much passion for what they're doing that the money just comes. That's how you have a successful business. And the second you focus too much on expansion without keeping your quality and you sacrifice passion for more income, you're going to be going down a dark hole. And that's not something you want to do. And the way you build these businesses so big is you keep the passion.
Yeah.
You're not going to build a business very big if you have no passion. That's not what I'm going to do for Team Atlas. So that's why I increase my prices, guys. I don't want to take on 700 clients. I'm like capped out almost all the time. And last year in the summertime, like I was like borderline, like I couldn't sleep. I was up for 22 hours a day. And because I have so many European clients and Chinese clients and all over Asia. And so I would do a show in the States or Canada on Saturday with say 10 to 20 athletes every weekend. And then the Europeans compete on the Sunday. And I have 4 to 5, 6 Europeans competing on the Sunday. So I'd be up all Friday night, right? Then all Saturday night and then all Sunday. Like it's too much. And then the week starts over on Monday. And that's when most people send their check-in. So it's like, I was literally burning out in the summertime and my health was going to shit. And I just couldn't really, it was too much. And
it was crazy. I don't remember having so many athletes during the summer. I think we reached a peak in a check-in every day when they're like 1 week out, or every four days when they're 4 weeks out. And we had like around 250 active athletes during the summer. That's a lot of check-in. So, and the shows and everything. So that was a lot of work.
Yeah, it's true. That's a good point. Like when we have athletes closer to the show, let's say 2, 3, 4 weeks out, we have them send check-ins every day. So imagine 250, 300, 400 check-ins, right? And then let's say like 250 of them are like in prep competing very soon.
Yeah.
You're getting 200 check-ins a day. I'm doing check-ins for 10 hours a day. And then I have to stay up all night to pick the athletes because their time zone is different, right? And then the Asian clients are like 12 to 14 hours ahead. The Europeans are 5 to 6 hours ahead. And they have Australians. It was too much. And I was like literally like burning out. My health was going to shit, right? I couldn't train at all. Couldn't diet. And it was the first time that I felt that I was burning out.
Yeah.
And I would come home from a show and I'd be like, holy shit, I'm exhausted, right? But I didn't really show that with the athletes and I still put all my energy into them because I'll never sacrifice that or give them less than what they deserve. But I'm like, listen, I need to find a solution to this issue. And as an entrepreneur, that's what you need to be doing. You need to keep progressing as far as a business owner and finding solutions to your problems. And one of my solutions was, listen, like my prices are pretty cheap compared to the other top coaches that put a lot of effort in. And even they were cheaper than some coaches that don't even make really that many pro cards. And I was like, we make the most pro cards every year in bikini by far. 3 years ago, we made 21. Last year, we made 22. And this year, we're at 19 so far, maybe 20 this weekend. We'll see. And we make the most pro cards in the world for bikini. I'm like, why am I not charging the most or at least close to the most, right? So what I did is I increased my prices by 20, 30%, which is still a very fair, reasonable price for what you get on Team Atlas. And that will give me the opportunity to lower the amount of clients that I can take in and make the same amount of income, right?
Yeah.
And so a solution that I had for clients that couldn't afford the new prices, because there is a few, right, was that they can go to Sabra and go to her prices, which are even lower than my previous prices. And then I still monitor the check-ins. You're communicating with her as a coach, but at least I'm around, right? And I'm making sure that your progress is as it should be on Team Atlas. So that took a lot of pressure off my back. And this is not something that I needed to do next summer. I need to do this now to prepare for next summer, because right now it's a little bit of a slower time. We still have a ton of check-ins and stuff too, but when the summer comes and all the shows hit from like May till like September, October, I can't figure it out then. I need to figure it out now.
Yeah.
Right? This is a time where I could revamp my business, fix a lot of things. And I really like to take like November till March to really do so many projects that I don't have time to do.
Yeah, to work on some of the stuff. Yeah.
Because I'm traveling every week from Thursday till Sunday at least. And then I'm home Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, got to pack already. I'm gone. It's too much, right? I'm exhausted. So,
but you felt and we saw the difference between last summer and
the summer before this summer.
Exactly.
This summer was crazy.
So we saw this summer how the increase of work and the amount of athlete that we had. So we're like, okay, we need to take action now because we know next summer it's going to be bigger.
Yeah. Like we're growing every year as a team. And I'm like, if I don't stop this, I'm not trying to stop my growth, but I'm trying to solve the issue that we're having. I'm going to literally burn out next summer and I don't want to do that. So we found a solution. I think this solved a lot of issues that we may have in the future. It wasn't an issue yet, but I can see it coming for next year. I knew it was going to be a problem. So we had to solve that problem. So we did increase our prices, but if you can't afford my prices, even though they're still very reasonable compared to other coaches, you can go to Sabra, and she's great. I've been coaching her for 4 years to do this job. As I said, I don't have 50 coaches. I have one extra one under me. And she's
amazing.
Yeah, she's great. She's super nice. She knows what she's doing. She asks me questions if she has any questions. And I'm still looking at your check-ins here to make sure that you're progressing properly. So that's that. And yeah, I'm excited for next year too. I know we keep growing every year. And
yeah.
One other thing that I wanted to actually talk about here on my list, Claire's like, why do you have this on the topic list? But so I actually got diagnosed with ADHD in January. And the reason I even went to go check was because all my doctor clients, we have a bunch of doctors on our team, told me that I have ADHD in some way or another. And I'm like, really? You think so? And they're like, yeah, 100%. And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Right. So I went to go check and they're like, yeah, you have ADHD. So they prescribed me Vyvanse first. I took it for 3 days. I wanted to kill myself. I never felt so bad in my life. Like seriously, I was like seriously almost suicidal for 3 days.
Okay.
And I was so irritated and agitated. I was like, I'd stopped. I was like, I told the doctor, I was like, get me off this shit. So they put me on Adderall. I've been taking Adderall now since January, prescribed from the doctor for my ADHD. And man, this drug is literally a limitless drug. It's unfreaking believable, right? And I never taken drugs before. I've never really had a party phase in my life. I never did all that stuff too. So I never like really did cocaine, or I'm not, I never got into being a drug addict. Too, but this Adderall stuff, now I understand why 80% of university students have taken Adderall at some time to get through tests, because it's unfreaking believable.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it opened up my capacity to learn and be productive by at least 40%. I'm like 40%, and my income is up by a lot because of it. And I'm just always able to focus and do new and exciting projects.
Yeah, you're sometimes he writes in there. We have a coach group chat on Facebook, and he's like, hey guys, I thought about this idea. I think
I told you one today that's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Every day.
Well, not every day, but at least once a week, you're like, I think about this. You're so excited.
There's a lot of them that you don't know. That's why. I don't tell you them all. But there's a lot of them. Like even 2 of them today, I told you with Lina and stuff too. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another thing we should talk about. So back to the Adderall and ADHD thing first. So yeah, I got diagnosed and I started taking it, and it's just been, there's a few downsides to it. One of the main downsides is I literally just want to work all day, every day. So the way Adderall works, to my understanding, is like a kid that has ADHD. They like can't focus on schoolwork or study or do anything. They just really want to play video games all day, right? But they can play video games for 10, 12 hours a day and be fine, and they can focus on that. And the way people with ADHD work is they're able to do things for long periods of time as long as it releases dopamine in their brain, right? Which gives them like stimulus and happiness. So whenever like a kid with ADHD plays video games, he's constantly getting stimulus and getting dopamine release. So he can do it for a long period of time. And that's why a lot of them actually like chocolate and sugar and stuff too, because there's so much dopamine release. But when they're doing homework, there's no dopamine, you're miserable, so they can't focus and do it.
It's not fun.
Yeah. So for me, I find that too. If I don't like doing something, it's very hard for me to concentrate. And what the Adderall does, it actually like just pulses dopamine all day long, small amounts. So whatever you're doing, you can focus on intensely. So one of the downsides is whenever I think of doing something, a task, I have to do it. I have to do it. I got, for example, like I've used this, I told a couple people before, like maybe Claire and Victoria, but I had like someone put their hand on my wall in my house, and I had what do you call it, magic eraser or whatever. And I magic erased it, and I looked and I'm like, fuck, there's another one. I walked every single wall in my house.
Wow.
I would never have done that before. Trust me. I'm not a big cleaning fan. I have a cleaning that comes every week, but every little thing I need to do, I do it. And that my list, for the cons, like my list never ends because I have so many small tasks.
Okay, so what you're telling me is you took the magic eraser and it produced dopamine in your head while you were cleaning your wall, because if you had to do all your wall, obviously you liked it.
So I didn't realize that it created dopamine in my head, but I guess it does. It makes me excited. But I'm not very fucking smart with this, because what happened was I didn't realize that it has like bleach in it, and it could only have like, you can only do it on really white things. My walls are like eggshell.
Oh.
So guess what? I had to have my fucking painter come and fix fucking all kinds of things on my wall because I use it on my eggshell wall. So I use that stuff to like clean my Jordan stuff too. It's great, but yeah. So I was talking to one of my athletes in September. She's on Adderall too. She's, I like it, but it just always makes me have to do side quests.
Side quest.
Yeah, so if you ever played video games before, you know what I'm talking about. It's funny because you're always like on the main quest and there's like someone on the side of the road like, hey, come help me do this. I do side quests all day long. I'm always doing side quests. For example, like in my shower, and it was like one of the, I have a rainfall shower or whatever, and like one of the spouts wasn't shooting. Why is it not shooting?
Okay.
I got a ladder, took the thing off this. I'm like fitting it, finding different parts, and just do it for no fun. And I have 50 other things I need to do. Because whenever I see something, I need to do it. And it's just, there's pros and cons to
now.
it.
It has to be done now.
And if I can't do something now, I'll write it on my to-do list. And if I go on like a show or a trip or a show, or whatever, and I'm gone for 3 days, do you know how many things I think of during these 3 days that I can't immediately do that I need to write on my list and do later? 500. I come back, my list is almost done. Kind of, I have, let's say 25 things on my list. I come back, there's 80, 90 things to do on my list. So I never fucking, so that's one of the downsides that I don't know, but I just went to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning last night. You guys will probably see on my stories, I'm reposting at 5 o'clock in the morning because I just had to get so many things done before I went to bed because I just want to get them done because finally my list is going to get shorter and shorter. And that's another big dopamine thing. Whenever I press this little button on my app, it makes a little ding sound that the task is complete.
I downloaded that
app. This app called, what is it? To Do, I think, by Microsoft.
By Microsoft, yeah.
Oh my God, it's amazing. I use it every day. And when you press it, ding, and you're done the task. So I'm fucking dinging this shit all day long, trying to get as many done as I can. So I went to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning yesterday because we're working on so many other projects because I'm a lunatic and I have all kinds of new projects we're coming up with all the time. And one of the projects that actually wasn't my idea, but was actually Victoria and Lina's idea. So if you guys don't know Lina, she's our assistant posing coach. And I didn't even know this, but I clearly didn't know this either, but she actually has a master's degree in counseling and therapy from McGill, which is like a renowned university. Great. And Lina, I've known her for now about a year, and she's the sweetest angel girl you could ever meet in your life. Not one bad bone in this body. She's super nice and comforting, and she's like a really like motherly quality. Like she's like there for you. She's just really like the sweetest girl you could possibly meet, right? And all my athletes agreed because they were using her as our assistant posing coach, right? If you're a beginner, you go to her instead of Victoria. And they're like, Lina's super nice. She's the sweetest girl ever. Victoria was like, hey, what do you think about having Lina offer like therapy and counseling sessions for our athletes? I'm like, wow, there's a liability with that because what credentials does she have? She has a master's degree in counseling and therapy. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I made Lina send me like all her credentials. It's unbelievable. Yeah. She's specified in everything that we possibly can need to help bikini athletes. Let me get the list here. Where's my phone?
Well, there's a few. I think there's body dysphoria. I've read. Dysmorphia, eating disorder.
So she specializes in body dysmorphia, eating disorders, depression and mental health issues, recovery, anxiety and stress management, self-recovery and personal development, emotional and anger management, cognitive behavior therapy, one-on-one and couples counseling. She do marriage counseling too, self-harm awareness and prevention, autism and Alzheimer's. So if you have autism or Alzheimer's, you're good too. But yeah, so I was like, wow, that's actually going to be really beneficial for our athletes to be able to like book the service at a fairer price. And like, because therapists are very expensive. Like you could pay like 150, 200 bucks an hour or whatever. So we're going to offer it to our athletes and maybe even other athletes outside the team, this service, where someone who understands bodybuilding and competing and also is a licensed therapist. I think it's going to be such a fantastic addition to our team.
Yes, it is, because you could go see a specialist in body dysphoria, but
dysmorphia. You're French. It's okay. Don't worry.
Sorry. Dysmorphia. They don't understand sometimes because they don't do the sport. So that's the best thing. She knows the sport. I don't remember if she did competition.
She didn't, but she wanted to, but she's been around the sport for a long time.
Yeah. So she understands the sport, and
she's best friends with Victoria too.
Exactly.
So she's been there for all her preps, all her shows and stuff.
It's great. So I think we're going to have her here in the podcast for sure.
Yeah. She's also a personal trainer too on the side, but I was like, why isn't she just doing therapy all the time, like for work? I don't know. But Victoria was telling me a lot of girls during posing classes with her or Lina are always talking about like their issues in their life. And sometimes it turns into a therapy session, their posing class. So we're like, why don't we actually just offer a therapy session for athletes if they need it, right? And it could really get them through prep or like hard times and help them work through issues. I think that's going to be a huge thing. And as Claire said, we're going to have Lina on the podcast eventually too. Hopefully sooner than later.
Yes.
And you guys can get to meet her because I think she's one of those people that it's impossible not to like her. Like you could not like me and I'm like, all right, I get it. But if you don't like Claire, you have mental problems. If you don't like Lina, you have mental problems. But at least Lina can help you if you have mental problems. Let's get some. But she's one of those people that you can't dislike, and she's just so nice and generous and giving and selfless. And I'm gonna have her on the podcast so that you guys can get to know her. And if you, once we release this episode, we probably will have already released our service, but I think it's going to be a great addition to Team Alice to be able to have that on the team. So we have Kelly, who's a doctor, who's like looking over all her blood work and stuff like that too for me. And then we have Lina, who's a licensed therapist on our team that also understands bodybuilding. I think it's just going to be great.
Great values.
Yeah. So that's very exciting. I have 50 other projects I'm working on, but I'm going to keep that a secret for now. So let's get into a couple of the questions you guys asked. So one of them was, what does it take to be on Team Alice, and how do you pick athletes to join your team? Does it require them to have the best potential? Are you very selective with your athletes? And it's very simple, actually. If an athlete wants to join our team and they have a realistic goal and they're coachable, I'm going to coach them as long as they get to Florida, right? So if you have a girl coming onto our team and she asked to be coached by me and she's like, hey, I want to buy the silver package for 1 year. My goal is this. Can you help me? I'll check out her pictures, see where she's at. And then typically they'll ask me for a phone conversation. I'll speak to them. And if their goals align with reality and I think that they're coachable and they're willing to work hard, I'll take them on my team, no problem. Even if they don't have good genetics at all. If you have very poor genetics and you're like, hey, I want to go to Olympia and qualify by this year, I'm never going to take your money and lie to you. So yeah, go ahead, Claire.
No, because you're upfront with them. When they ask for a consultation and you tell them, okay, yes or no, what your genetic, you tell them upfront, okay, this is what you need to do and this is how we're going to do it.
We had an athlete that asked for a consultation yesterday. I didn't speak to you about this yet, but she sent me pictures of how she looks now and how she looked on stage. Because we always ask their age, their name, the pictures of previous shows and how they look now. And immediately I noticed that she had butt implants and they weren't extremely visible. They're still a little they're there and they're subtle, but I can notice her right away because I have a good eye. And I can see in the front pose, the back pose, side transitions, even in pictures. And she like put filters on them to maybe hide it. Right away I can see it. So I'm like, hey, let's have a call. So she called me and she's like, hey, I got to tell you something before we start. I'm like, you're going to tell me that you have butt implants? She's like, yeah, how did you notice? I'm like, I noticed immediately in every single picture you sent me. She's like, well, what do you think? And I'm like, well, what's your goal? And who coached you before? And what's your process? I asked her, well, have you heard any feedback from the judges regarding your implants? And what has your previous coach told you? And what is your feedback you've gotten? And she's been with the same coach for, I think, 4 years now. And she said that she was so disappointed because he only told her that she'll never really place well at her last show, which was, I believe, at the University of USA this summer. And she says she's been with him for 3 or 4 years and he never told her this before. And she said that even though he coaches like top Olympians too, he was never upfront with her and honest. And she felt deceived and she felt that she was lied to for a long period of time because he wasn't honest to her. And she came up to him after the last show and was like, hey, listen, like I talked to the head judge and they said you have glute implants. And she's, well, you knew I had glute implants for 3 years. Why didn't you tell me? And he's, well, he didn't really have an answer for her. And she said that she spent so much time and money going to these shows thinking that she would place well despite the glute implants because she told that she would by him, and she wasted 3 years. And she told me this after actually what I told her, which was, listen, you have glute implants, you have a great physique, but this decision that you made 10 years ago, I got them 10 years ago, will make it so that you can never place in a show or do well. It's just the way it is. You could have breast implants, right? Because it doesn't affect your physique and you're not trying to build a big chest in bikini, so it doesn't matter. But if you have glute injections or glute implants or anything weird on your body that's almost like cheating, you will be put last place every single time. And she's like, yeah, I noticed that the last 2 shows, they put me in last place, even though I was in good condition. I'm like, yeah, because the second they see you have glute implants or an injection or something weird, they're putting you way down. It doesn't matter how good you look because it's banned in the sport. You're not allowed to do that. If you can do it and get away with it and make no one see it, good for you. You're smarter than the judges and you're smarter than everyone else. Great. But it's very hard to get away with, especially in bikini. A lot of the big bodybuilders use synthol and stuff like that too, but they're so big and they do it deep and you can't really notice. But for
Yeah.
bikini and women, we see a lot like wellness, and we see a lot of some older bikini athletes, they get, let's say, hyaluronic acid injections, PMMR injections, especially a lot in Brazil, or even sometimes implants, and it's very obvious. And the second they see it on stage, you're done. And I can notice immediately, even if you're in the middle of off-season staging, if you have butt implants or injections or not. The judges can too. The second you're walking on the stage and your butt looks a little bit too round, and it's so obvious to me. Immediately I can. So I'm like, listen, she was willing to pay me for a year up front. And I was like, I'm not going to take your money and lie to you. You're never going to turn pro, and you're never going to place in a show. And I'm so sorry to tell you this, but I don't want you to invest more time and money into this if your goal is to be competitive, to be pro or be a competitive athlete. But I'm like, listen, if you want to join a lifestyle program or have me even coach you to even, if you want to compete and not care about placing well, I'll coach you for it, no problem. Even if you have butt implants, I don't care. If that's your goal. But if your goal is to turn pro, I'm not coaching, because it's just, I'd be lying to you and you'd be wasting more money. And she's, I appreciate that so much that you're being honest with me, even though it hurts to know the truth. But she's, I'd rather this than have wasted the last 4 years of my life spending thousands and thousands of dollars doing a million shows and keep being, and while being told that I'm going to do better and place well if I just grow a little bit more here and there. And I was like, it sucks, because the same coach that she's talking about had another athlete with glute implants. And the same thing, she came up to a North Americans last year and she's, hey, James, can you look at my physique? I don't place well. What do you think? And I'm like, okay, do your front pose, do your back pose? I'm like, you have glute implants. She's, no, I don't. I'm like, yes, you do. I'm like, she's, no, I don't. I swear. I'm like, you do, but whatever. And then she's like, yeah, okay, I did. She's like being around it, and it's on implants, it's injections. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm like, you did this. She did have permanent injections done. I don't know if it was PMMR or whatever, but it was so obvious. And she's like, yeah, but my coach told me that if I grow my legs more to have more symmetry, then I'll still win. And this, I'm like, no, I'm like, it's never going to happen. And she joined my team anyways. And I told her I would coach you, but you're going to come last place in the shows. And she's like, I have no problem with that. I'll do that. I'll do whatever it takes, even to just compete and have for fun. So she has a different mindset. She knows she's not going to turn pro, because I was upfront with her to start. I'm upfront with her now. And she moved from now for a year, and we just did Masters USAs, and she came last place. And she knows it was her best shape ever. Her flawless conditioning, flawless fullness, everything. By far her best look, but she's glute implants. Doesn't matter. And she's, I'm so proud of my physique, and I'm really happy, and I don't care about the placing, because that's what she came in.
That was her goal.
She knew, right? Yeah. But this other girl wants to turn pro. I'm like, listen, it's not realistic. It's not going to happen. So I'm not going to take your money and just lie to you. Even though I could, she was willing to pay right away a year up front. I'm not going to take your money. So it's really important to be honest with the athletes and their expectations. So yeah, if you want to be on Team Alice and you want to join my team and be coached by me, and you have realistic goals and you're able to afford it, I'll coach you no matter what. And as far as the side question of what is a coachable athlete, it's very simple. Can you follow instructions? Are you lying to me or your coach? Are you saying things in your questionnaire that are untrue? There's all these things play into account, right? Are you snacking here and there? Are you actually getting all your cardio in? Are you doing all the training? Are you being honest? Are you, right?
You want someone to be transparent with you, and definitely someone who is open to positive criticism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Constructive criticism.
Yeah, constructive criticism, because this is how you want to improve in the sport. You need to be open and to work towards getting better. And what else? There's so many things you need to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of things about being coachable. And I actually had a funny situation. I was an athlete on my team for 2 years, and she did a show like last year. She came first in her class, and then she took the year off, I believe. And then she wanted to do nationals this year. And she had a really bad off season because she binged after a show. She had a new boyfriend break up, and then we had to spend a whole year like losing body fat. So she didn't get that much muscle. And she's like natural too for a long period of time. And she's like, hey, I want to do nationals in December. I want to do a regional show first and then do nationals. I think she came like top 2 in the regional show. She did well. I want to do national in December. I said, sweetie, you're not ready to do a national show. What do you mean? I said, you don't have enough muscle mass on. She, yeah, but you think I can place well? I said, you're going to come the last call out if you do this show. And she, really? Are you serious? I'm like, sweetie, I'm like, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to gaslight you. You're going to come last call out in the show because you don't have enough muscle mass. You're not ready to do a big national like this. And she said, oh, okay, well, her program was ending 3 weeks before the national show. She's, guys, I'm just going to finish this show on my own and do the national show on my own and try to do the best I can. But I appreciate you and stuff too. And I was like, that's no problem at all. I understand completely. Your time's up. You can continue with your coach or do whatever you want. And she did the national show. And I saw her at the show, we said hi and everything was cool. And then she called me yesterday and she was like, James, I want to rejoin your team. I don't know if you realize, but I came lost call out exactly like you said. And I went against your advice, which was not to do the show continue off season. And I want to rejoin and just listen to you next time better. And you learn. And you knew, and you told me right away that I was going to place in a lost call out. And it's exactly what happened. And the feedback I received was exactly what you told me I need to work on. So she's like, you were right. And I'm going to listen to you. And my 4 athletes at the show that I had nationals all plays very well because I know who's ready and who's not. And if I have an athlete that's not ready, I'm not going to guess at them and tell them you're going to place well, even though you're not. So
when it's not the truth.
As far as being coachable, yeah, I mean, we have a lot of clients that are very coachable, which also means they're always checking all the time. We know, let's say like a Bailey. You think she missed one check-in?
No,
never.
Never.
We have like all the check-ins on time. Good questions, right? They're not
if she asks questions.
Yeah, she doesn't really ask questions, but if she does, they're great.
Yeah.
And checking on time, asking you questions, following the diet flawlessly. I know she's measuring everything to the damn gram.
Everything's perfectly.
If she goes on a trip, she's not gonna be like, hey, I missed 2 meals one day and then I went hiking with my mom and then I didn't get she's doing her shit, right? And even Issa Bashini, okay? Issa Bashini went to Europe for 3.5 weeks with her sister and came back the exact same weight as her Olympia fasted weight on show day. The same, she could walk Olympia again and look, she was a little bit smaller because she lost a little bit of fullness, but she's the same condition. She followed her diet there, had little snacks here and there, but flawless. Trained every freaking day in Europe, there's not even gyms in Europe, honestly. Seriously, they don't train there. But she's a very coachable athlete. She's very in tune with everything. She's honest, and honesty is super important. Being reliable and just understanding things, right? You need to be smart too. You need to be able to understand instruction and follow. And let's say like I gave you instruction on posing and you got to be able to take it in, right? Apply it and learn it for next time. Or if I change your diet, right? Look at the diet and adjust it and follow the new diet. We have sometimes, I didn't see my diet adjustment. I've been doing this other diet for the last 3 weeks. I'm like, what the hell? Like, how does that happen? Like,
no, it can't work like this.
Yeah. Or like we had an Olympian 2 years ago or whatever, and she would send a check-in. It wasn't a top Olympian. It was like just an Olympian. And we went approach her together, or two. And she would send her check-in and then not look at my response until the next check-in a week later. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, so if I give you feedback on your posing and send you a new diet, you don't see it until your next check-in. So you're making the same mistake and you're doing the same posing. And after the Olympia, I spoke to the head judges and they gave me feedback on every one of my athletes. And I sent her a detailed list of all the feedbacks that this Olympia judges told me about her.
Yeah.
She still hasn't opened a message. It's been over a year.
No way.
I swear to God.
No.
She hasn't opened.
Wow.
I'm just like, I don't get it. So then I'm like, whatever. So I was like, I'm not coaching this girl anymore. I just didn't talk. She just never talked to me again. And then one of my coaching friends, they're a very high level coach, was like, hey, this athlete's asked to join my team, just to let you know. I'm like, no problem. I'm like, but you're in for it. What do you mean? She seems very nice. I'm like, you'll see. And the same thing happened to her. She's like, every time she sent me, I've been correcting her same posing errors for the last 3 months and she doesn't do them. It doesn't work. And I literally told her I'm done coaching you because it doesn't work. And so that's an uncoachable athlete because once they have those traits, they're going to do that with every single coach. And coaches like, let's say like Kim, Adam, Jamie, whatever, we all know based on even speaking to an athlete for a very short period of time, if they're one of these or they're going to be very reliable. Like if an athlete does this to one coach, they're going to do this to all the other coaches, right? And
this is a perfect example of someone who's not open to change and to get better, definitely.
That's someone who has a very big ego and thinks that they know everything. And that's not a coachable. If you think you know more than your coach, you're not a coachable athlete. And this athlete will never get anywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll win small shows here and there, like not in the United States, but she'll never get anywhere because she thinks she knows her body better. And she went through 2 of the top coaches in the world. And we both think the same thing about her because she's ridiculous. Yeah. Why would you even hire a coach and pay money for coaching if you're not going to look at the feedback until the next check-in?
It makes zero sense.
What's the point of doing? What's the point of doing check-ins? There's not.
But what's the point to pay someone?
I don't know. It's
if
useless.
You're just like.
So I was laughing with this coach. I was like, I told you. She's like, you were right. And I'm like, how many times have I been right about this? And there's 2 other instances where two girls joined her team, and she's, hey, athlete asked to join my team. I'm like, you're in for it. I'm like, you're going to see. So, oh no, they're very sweet. And both times she let go to the other athletes too. And she's like, you're right every time. I'm like, yeah. And she understands this too, because I was laughing with her at the show. I'm like, how many times am I going to have to tell you when a specific athlete is not a good fit for a coach? And she's, you're right. I can't even deny it, because once an athlete's like this to one coach, they're like this to all the coaches. And it's just their personality. It's not usually the coach. Like, it's usually on the athlete and how coachable they are. So let's say you join a mediocre coach's team and he's not a great coach. At least follow what he tells you to do, and don't lie to him, and be reliable and follow through as your job as an athlete. And if it doesn't work, leave. But don't ghost them and don't ignore. Don't be one of those, right? Because then you're gonna, if you're actually able to follow a coach all the way through and they don't give you the results they want, no problem. Go to the next coach and follow all the way through, etc. But if you're wishy-washy with one coach and you think, you're going to be like that with everyone else, right? And that's an uncoachable athlete, and that's not athletes I'm interested in coaching. I had no interest in that. I don't care if you're a top Olympian. I don't care if you're going to win the damn Olympia. I will not coach you if you're this unreliable. It drives me nuts. I'm borderline autistic, I think, honestly. Seriously. With like organizations, I have a niece who's autistic, and honestly, we have a lot of the same characteristic traits. And my sister, who's the mother of my niece, is, you're for sure a little bit autistic. And
it runs in the family.
I'm functional, but honestly, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, they all have, Mark Zuckerberg too, which is like on the spectrum of autism, I believe. So maybe it's a good thing. I have a little bit of it. Anyways, I have some of that in me, and I'm really organized, and I'm very detail oriented, and I'm on top of everything. And if I have to coach 500 athletes and I can remember everything and be on top of your check-ins stuff too, why can't you organize yourself? Organize yourself. You got to take care of yourself. That's it. I got to take care of 500 girls, and I'm on top of it, right?
Yeah.
And that is super important in a characteristic trait of being a coachable athlete. So quick summary of that point is, got to be reliable. You can't be flaky. You can't be not checking in. You can't be waiting 7 weeks to do a check-in and then
actually tonight I wanted to wait for my weight to go down, and I didn't check in. And
some athletes are like, hey, I'm really sick today, I'll check in tomorrow. Or hey, I just got in for a flight. That's perfectly fine. But if you're always like doing weird things,
you're like, always the one every week or very often finding excuses to not check in. Well, that's not normal.
There's a few athletes where they're like, they'll cheat for a week and then not check in because they think they're going to get their weight back down on their own. And it's just, that's not how you do things. No matter what you do, you check with your coach on your day of your check-in. No matter if you binge against 75,000 pounds, it doesn't matter. Send a check-in, be accountable, have communication with your coach. You guys are a team. It's not, the coach is not against you. Don't be like, oh, my coach is my teacher in school and he's going to put me in attention to be mad at me. No, you're a team together. The coach and the athlete are a team. You got to work together. So be 100% honest. I had an athlete too. You remember who it is too. She lied to me about her weight. This happened twice, actually. Oh my God. Like, we're at a show and I had all my athletes together and I'm like, what's your weight? And she's like, 112. No, you're not. You're not 112. And she's like, yeah, I am. I'm like, no, you're not. And I'm like, okay, step on a scale for me. She's like, oh, I have a picture of this morning on my scale. Let me show you, whatever. And I'm like, all right, show me. And it was 112 on this picture. And I was like, so I had 4 athletes come in the room with me and I was doing check-ins, all of them together. And one of my athletes was 112.6. And this other girl was sitting next to her and she said she was 112. And I'm like, I pulled her aside after and I was like, sweetie, you're not 112. I'll prove it to you. Go to your room and get on your scale. Oh, my boyfriend is there and he doesn't have the key and he's downstairs. I'm like, we're going to go on the scale, I'll call the friggin' front desk, we're going on the scale. We get in a room on the scale. 122. Oh no, the scale's wrong. I was 112, whatever. Call my other athlete. Hey, can I borrow your scale? 2 of my athletes. Hey, can I borrow both of your scales? So they bring the scales to the show. I tell them to. Both scales, 122, 122. I'm like, sweetie, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why you're lying to me. And she's swear she didn't lie to me. But she's, no, my scale said this. I'm like, how does it say 122 now? It's a 122 to 112 this morning. And then you're doing your check-ins with me every day for 3 weeks going to the show. And you think your scale is lying to you every single day for 3 weeks and you're updating your questionnaire. And then randomly when you're at the show, it just magically is the right number. You're lying to me. And she still never admitted it. I still love this girl. I love her. And I'm still coaching her. But She learned, she's young. She learned a lot from this. And I think she knows that I know that she lied to me.
But many
Don't
times,
do that.
yeah, but
Because
many
I'm not
times
stupid.
you
I
kind of
catch
open,
them.
but you open the door for her to come clean
Yeah.
many times, and she's definitely she's not.
Yeah, but I knew this too, because I knew she needed to be on stage at 108, and she was 112. And I'm like, you have to lose fucking 12 pounds of fat at least. I know it's impossible. It's impossible, because we did a show before together. And that's why I was like, let's prove it to me then. And another athlete too, recently too, she was going to do like a show. She turned pro with us. This happens with pros too sometimes. I don't know, but she pro with us last year, our first try together. And then she was sending check-ins. And then she says her weight dropped a pound this week. And I looked at her pictures and I was like, you're not 119.
Something's off.
Do you remember who it is or no?
Yeah.
I'm like, you're one. Yes, I am, coach. No, you're not. And I sent her pictures from her check-in 4 weeks ago, where she was 127. And then her check-in pictures now, which was 119. And she was higher body fat now, 118, she was 127. I sent her pictures. I'm like, sweetie, you're not 119. I don't know why you're lying to me, but you're not. And she's like, can we have a call? Listen, I'm so sorry I lied to you. I didn't want you to be mad at me. I'm like, sweetie, I'm not mad at you at all. There's solutions to this. We can postpone the show. We can talk about why you're not losing body fat, because she was cheating on her diet. And she was cheating on her diet and just writing that her weight was lower in the check-ins to make it look like she was progressing when she actually physically wasn't.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not a solution to your problem, because you're going to go on stage weighing your real weight and looking how you really look. It doesn't matter what you wrote in the questionnaire to me. I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm going to speak to you and try to resolve this issue with you. And I suggested to her, I'm like, sweetie, maybe competing isn't for you anymore and you should switch lifestyles. So she switched the lifestyle for 3 months with Victoria. And then she just came back. She listen, I'm refocused. I understand my mistake and I want to do this again with you. And I promise I won't lie to you. She promised won't lie to me. I'm sure she won't. I think she's just one of those people where she doesn't want to disappoint anyone.
Yes.
She's so sweet, right? She doesn't want to disappoint me. So she just wants to say like a white lie, hoping I don't notice.
Yeah. But nah.
I look at the pictures all day long. I know what's going on. If you're lying to me, it's going to be pretty hard for me to miss it. Then I'm going to call you out on it and then you're going to feel dumb. So don't lie to me. Then I'll be mad at you. If you're lying to me, I'm going to be a lot more upset with you than if you're honest with me. If you're honest with me, like, listen, coach, I gained 10 pounds this week and I cheated on my diet in 3 weeks out. I'm like, listen.
Because all the time, like I said, he opened the door for them to come clean and they don't. So this is, yeah. Anyway, so.
And if you get yourself into this rabbit hole where you're lying to me and then you're cheating and you're trying to, let's say you're on 1,100 calories, right? You're getting close to the show and you're on 1 hour cardio. And then you're cheating, you gain 7 pounds, right? So you're like, listen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lie on my check-in. I'm going to send in pictures, but lie about my weight. I'm going to lose the 7 pounds by next check-in. And then my weight's actually going to catch up to my fake weight. And then you reduce your calories down from 1,100 to 700 with just protein. And you try to increase your cardio to 3 hours a day, right? Just try to get that weight off. And then you're lying to me about your weight, the diet you're on, the cardio you're on. So I don't even know what you're doing anymore. And you're trying to crash diet to get that weight off that you lied to me about. And then if you're in a situation, you are screwed because it's not going to work. That's never going to work. It's like being a gambler, right? And you're like, you lose $1,000. Okay, I'm not going to tell my girlfriend, but I'm going to put in $1,000. I'm going to win it back. And then fuck, I lost 2,000. Okay, I'm going to put 4,000. I'm going to win 2,000 and then get 2,000 back. And then you go home and you lost your house and you and your girlfriend live on the street. Yeah. And you're like, fuck, maybe if I just told her about the $1,000 at the start and drop my ego, then we could have found a solution, right? She would be a lot less mad at me, but now we're homeless, right? We're homeless together.
Yeah.
So that's the same situation. Okay. Identical situation. So
stay.
Just be honest. And then if you're 127 and you're like, listen, okay, let's find a solution. Let's discuss what we can do to get it back down. Don't try to do things on your own. Stop. Just follow your coach's advice. And that's going to get you so much further in the sport. And that's being a coachable athlete. If you try to go around your coach and try to make up for lostness and you're writing wrong things. And
but it's also you own up for your mistake.
It's being an adult.
Yeah, you own up. I messed up. I cheated on my diet or I didn't do this, blah, blah, blah. Say it.
And do you think you're the first one you cheat on your diet?
No.
I coach thousands of girls. I see, you don't even know things I hear or you don't even know. I've seen it all. You're not going to say something that's going to freak me out. Trust me, you're not going to say anything that's going to be like, oh my God. Like sometimes where it's like that girl was editing her pictures in the check-ins.
Oh yeah.
That was a new one. I was like, wow, okay, you impressed me. I'm surprised I've never seen it in my life. But like this one, I binge it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Talking about it, we're a team, right? You're paying me to be your coach. and I want you to succeed.
Yeah.
So we're going to work together. Don't try to do things on your own. I'm not your school teacher. I'm not your dad. I'm not going to discipline you and be like, you're a bad girl. You're going to your room. You're
bad
punished.
egg.
I'm going to kick you off my team. No, it's not going to. I'll kick you off my team much quicker if you lie to me than if you're honest with me in the check-ins.
That's the thing.
Exactly. So you're doing the opposite of what you should be doing. So yeah, I mean, I think that answers that question on if I take athletes with potential or do I pick which athletes I want to coach, and what's a coachable athlete. So do you have anything else to add to that?
No.
Claire's seen everything I've seen because she's in every single group chat that I have for check-ins, because she answers like tedious questions. Let's say the girl's like, oh, we talked about this before, but let's say the girl's, hey, how do I swap this for this? Or like a tan removal.
I don't feel well, or
exactly. Things that I don't need to specifically answer. She's not doing diet adjustments or cardio adjustments, nothing, or PD, nothing. But it just, she's answering tedious questions that
kind of do the filter.
Yeah, she'll add in filler things and she'll give them positive reassurance too.
Yeah,
like you're doing, she's very deep. She looks through all the check-ins. She like making sure and just making sure everything's good.
But you're also very specific on how you want your questionnaire to be.
Oh, this is another thing too. We have like a 46.
Sometimes like Claire, make sure that every athlete in their check-in, this part is made like this.
I get mad.
So after that, I'm like, okay, please, can you resend your check-in? And
so
it's not
we
my
have
fault.
a questionnaire that athletes check that send to us for 47 questions.
Yeah.
Sometimes 46, depending on if they're gold or silver. And so if their spacing is off a little bit, or there's or some date is off, I'm like, Claire, can you tell them to fucking fix it?
It's not my fault.
Because I want everyone to be as organized as me. And that is not realistic, but we get every athlete to be that way, because I'm like, listen, I'm just going to fucking fix your question. I'm going to take your questionnaire, put it in my notepad, fix exactly the spacing I want, and then give it back to you. Just copy this formatting.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's good because we like this format. So every check-in is the same. It's easier to read.
Scan it easier. You're right.
Yeah,
exactly.
so you know by section.
Yeah.
Okay, so
or I'm like, Claire, why are you telling this athlete that their check-in is good? I can't even because like sometimes she knows exactly the angle and the lighting that I want.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes the athlete's like off center, or like their front pose is brighter than their back pose, because they'll do their front pose in front of the ring light. And they'll take a few steps to their back pose. I'm like, their back pose is dark. I can see, but I want the athlete to send me a good check-in pictures, because then they build bad habits. If you're saying wrong check-in pictures every check-in, you're going to build bad habits.
Yeah.
Like Claire, tell her if you're on it though, 9 out of 10 99. Even Saber too. I'm like, hey, this client of yours lighting is shit. Fix that before you give them. Like, I want them athletes to build good habits.
Yeah.
And instead of them then making mistakes, and then you're like, it's okay. And the next time they fix the situation now. Yep.
I think the first time, like, okay, can you please resend? Oh, yeah. Everyone does mistakes, but if it's been like 5 times I'm asking you, or like, for example, you ask people, at 4 weeks out, you ask the athlete to send the angle video for the judge.
That's your dog. I stopped doing this.
So I send the request. Okay,
explain what the angling video is.
Okay, so it's to make sure that the athlete understands how to position themselves properly in front of the head judge. So when they do their comparison, for example, if they're on the side, when they do their front pose, we make sure that they practice so they can face perfectly the head judge and not pose for the other judge.
Exactly.
So I ask them to send a video of them doing the angle. And sometimes when it's been like 5 times I'm asking you, like the last time I'm not that nice. It'd be like,
you're still pretty nice.
Look, I've been asking you 5 times. Please send the video.
So what I did is, it's so important for athletes to angle to the head judge on the stage.
Yeah.
So let's say it's a national show. There was one group of girls. I think there was 10 girls in the lineup. If you're on the sidelines and you're posing to your grandma in the back of the room, and you're like, hey, grandma, you're smiling to her, and your waist is facing her, and your glutes are facing her, and Sandy's over there, and Sandy can't see you in the middle, they can't see your physique.
Yeah.
They're not going to put you in. So you need to angle to the head judge no matter where you are. So what we do before the shows is I had Victoria come to my house, and I set up a little stage, and I had Victoria pose in the middle, on the side, on the other side, back pose, front, redo, right? And we send them a video of the example, and we have them send us video of them angling to the head judge, whether they're in the middle, on the sideline, right? And then, so Claire sends that to them 4 weeks out, and we make them send it until it's perfect so that they don't make the same mistake on stage. Tell me another coach or team that does this. Doesn't exist. There's no way. Because we cover, that's why we make the most pro guards in the world, because whether you're an amateur or an Olympian, we're going to cover these small details, right? And I go above and beyond to make sure that everything's as perfect as we can possibly make it, and no stones unturned. And that's a character trait and character flaw of mine too, because it drives me fucking crazy because I'm always trying to figure small details out, make everything perfect. And there's only this perfect that you can make everything, but we do our best. But yeah, so sometimes we'll be like, hey, this athlete, I asked them 7 times to send me this.
Can you please tap
this video over the last minute? Can you please ask them like, hey, send me this video, please? Like, we're not just, so.
We're not asking for fun.
It's not super often that this happens. Sometimes they just don't send it. And we're like, I need this video from you.
Yeah.
I want to make sure you can angle, because if you diet, you do your cardio, take your PDs, you do everything, you do your posing classes, you're a saint. But you're called out with 10 girls and you're posing for your mom over there, or your dog, or your uncle, or whatever, and they can't see you. All of that work does not matter. I saw at the Olympia, girls at the Olympia.
That's true.
They freaking, there's 8 to 9 to 10 girls every lineup. The girls on the side are freaking angling on the side. They're not even facing Sandy. I'm like, what the fuck? The first look that the judges have of you, they can't even compare you to other athletes because you're not even showing them your physique.
Yeah, they don't see you properly.
All your work is literally in the garbage. No one is winning a show that the judge can't see your physique. It doesn't matter how good you think you look. It doesn't matter how much you dieted, how perfect you were. So this is essential, right?
Yeah.
If you go on the stage and you come on there with shorts and a t-shirt on, who cares? The judges can't see your physique. It doesn't matter how much you dieted, trained. It doesn't matter. The judges got to see your physique. Show them your physique, angle properly. And this is one of the things that Claire does for me as my assistant. So this all comes with being coachable and just following what we tell you to do and taking in constructive criticism and being reliable.
Yeah. I'd say also you need to be a patient person, because sometimes you ask them to send them 10 times their posing, their front pose. So they need to be patient and say, okay, I'm going to do it again and work hard. And
yeah, so sometimes I'm like, listen, your front pose doesn't look good. And I'll send them a video example of what to do. I'll send them pictures of how to fix it. And they'll send it. I'm like, can you please resend me? And they got to do it 10 times. But I'm like, listen, would you rather that or a coach that tells you your posing is great and it sucks? And I do this for first-time competitors. Like, I'm not going to treat just my Olympians like that too. And I know a lot of people treat
you do it with
every single athlete. Yeah. It doesn't matter. And I know there's a lot of coaches out there that use this business as a cash cow, because it's very easy to make millions of dollars being a good coach if you market it well. But I never want to do that. I want to build my business based off of quality and taking care of all my athletes. And I made a comment or post about this before, but your amateurs are your bread and butter, right? If there's no amateurs, you're not making any money. You're not. They fund all the shows, like even pro shows. The pros don't pay to compete the pro shows. All the amateurs, they're paying for the NPC card, their class registration, they're paying the coaches, right? So take care of your amateurs so they have a good experience, right? And that's what we do. And if I'm asking you to send your check-in, redo your check-in because your lighting is not good or your posing is not good, it's out of love and because I want you to succeed. If I can't see your physique and I'm like, yeah, you look really good, your back pose is good, and good job on your diet, you're doing great, keep up the good work. That's a lot easier and a lot less time consuming than being like, hey, please resend your picture, come closer to the thing. Here's a video of your back pose, you're leaning too much on your left leg, send to yourself, right? And resend your pictures tomorrow, and then update this part of the questionnaire, adjust the spacing so I could read it better. That's a lot more effort, because then I got to do the check-in 2 times. I got to look through all the pictures, look through the videos, look through the check-ins, give them more feedback, right? That's a lot more effort, but the athlete's going to get a lot out of it, right? They're going to get a lot more out of it than being told, great job, you look amazing. I'm not one of those. I'll give you compliments when they're deserved and when you're doing a great job. I'm going to make you put in a bit of extra work so I can do my job properly and see your physique properly and coach you properly. That's my job. So I don't treat coaching as a cash cow. I don't try to like suck every penny I can out of everyone. Some coaches even charge you to come to your show or come with you backstage or something. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, you can't do this to athletes. And yeah, I don't know, we're off topic now, but we're talking about being coachable athletes. So yeah, being coachable athlete will also require you to do these small things with me as your coach. I know.
Of course.
So a couple things that I adjusted for this podcast was my sister, she watched the one with Dr. LeBlanc. She's like, James, get off your phone. It's distracting. And she's like, you need to have a whiteboard behind like your guests or near you where you can look at the questions instead of looking at your phone. Cause I'm constantly looking at my phone, looking at the questions, right? So I can prepare for the next question. And then she stopped interrupting people. And I'm like, fuck, it's true. I like to talk. So I try to fix these things. I think I did better in this podcast. So I don't have my phone anymore in my hands, right? We're good. Sure. I have my clipboard here with my questions hidden. So, and we're going to get the new guests on. I'm going to keep trying to improve it to make this experience as good for you guys as possible. Maybe you can get value out of this content. So let me know in the comments if you like this, the improvements. I have a very, I don't know how to word this. I don't want to say that I'm I'm very open to improvement and suggestions, right? It may seem like I have a big ego. Maybe you think so, or maybe you don't. If you know me well, you know that I don't, but I don't have an ego where I'm going to block out suggestions when it can make me better and make what I'm doing better, ever. If someone tells me, hey, James, I want to talk about this, I have a suggestion, and it's someone that I respect and I know that has my best interest in mind, I'll always listen.
Yeah.
My sister, I know she's going to tell me the truth. My sister's, if you want to be coached by someone who's fucking crazy and going to be anal, my sister's like me times 10. And my mom's like us times 40. We're all like that in the family. It's crazy. Yeah. My sister's, oh my God, my sister's like on me, like with me on steroids. It's crazy. But so I found, hey, sometimes can you proofread this document, like to make sure? And she like finds every small, I sent the glue ebook to like a professional editor or whatever. And they're like, miss like 40 things. And my sister found every single one. She's very good. That's why I'm like, you give me feedback. So
okay.
I made a post and you guys gave me a lot of feedback also in the Team Atlas Facebook group about things that we can improve on. And I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you dislike. And we're going to do my best to implement those things in the podcast, in my business, in Team Atlas, and any other aspect of my life. And I try to take positive criticism from people whenever I can to even improve myself as a person. So sometimes I make mistakes and sometimes I hear it and it's sometimes not fun to hear. And you're like, listen, this was, oh my God, even myself, I'm just like, I went to post back. I was looking through like posts I made in like 2016. I'm like, am I mentally ill? I'm like, would I be mentally ill? No, I'm serious. I'm like, thank God did never become a politician because they would have found these things and posted it now. I'm big delete. I'm like, am I crazy? I'm like, because sometimes, it's something like racist or whatever, but it's just like stupid things that I posted where I'm like, oh my God, that's embarrassing.
And years ago.
Yeah, but still, if you're a politician, they go back to 1944 when you posted this on Twitter and you're like racist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so I'm like, oh my God, I was so stupid. So I take accountability for things that I do in error or make mistakes or post in the past, and I try to correct it and I try to be better. And that's what everyone should do, especially.
Yeah, this is good.
Every good entrepreneur has this quality. If you're someone who's unteachable, uncoachable, right? Because every entrepreneur has mentors also. I have a mentor, Elon Musk, I'm sure, a mentor, Bill Gates, they all have mentors. You're learning from other people. No one just comes up and I am the smartest person in the world. I'm doing everything on my own and I'm going to not listen to anyone. No. For example, Elon Musk there's a little video that's going viral. I think it happened this year. And one of the reporters asked him like, hey, your big rocket uses this type of engine fuel or whatever. And he's like, why does your small rocket use this other type of engine fuel? And Elon Musk was like, you know what? I don't know.
That's
he's
good.
Like, you're actually right. I'm going to talk to my team and figure this out. And Elon Musk made a post like, this was one of the most innovative things that we fixed because of the reporter asking him this question.
This is great because he said the truth instead of just trying to make up
a lie. Like, oh, because this. You're actually, and that happens all the time. Like I was training with a girl yesterday in the gym. I was training her and she like asked me a question and she was like, I can't remember what it was. I wrote it down obviously on my phone, but I'm like, oh my God, you just gave me the best freaking idea. She gave me 2 really good ideas. And I gave her the Elon Musk example and I showed her the video. I'm like, this is like this type of situation. Obviously I'm not building rockets, I'm building glutes, but it just goes to show like, if you want to be a really good entrepreneur, you need to take constructive criticism. You need to listen to your clientele, your audience, people that are viewing your content, consuming your content, and that are your customers to keep improving. If you just shut everyone out and you're like, no, I know everything, don't listen to me, you're an idiot and you're never going to get anywhere. So
yeah, you're going to go somewhere, but not for a long distance.
You might not even go anywhere because you're going to be limited to what your brain can handle. And even me, I'm trying to learn every day. Like I work all day long, but I'm very good at multitasking. So like I listen to probably 8 to 10 hours of podcasts all day long while I'm working. So I'm always multitasking. I'm never not listening to a podcast. So I'm learning at the same time. And I can register information while I'm doing another task, which is a good skill that not many people have, but I have that type of, I have that, which helps me as an entrepreneur, but I'm always trying to learn. And I'm always, if you're on Team Atlas too, so that I'm always asking you guys questions, like in the Facebook group, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, I had this idea. Would you guys be interested in this? To hear your feedback, because you girls are the ones that I'm coaching, and you girls are the ones that matter. If I like everything I'm doing and I'm putting out content, but you guys, I don't want to hear your opinions or comments, what's the point?
Exactly.
I want you guys to enjoy the experience. I want you guys to have the best experience, have the best documents that I send you. I'm always trying to upgrade things, trying to have the best everything around me so I can be a better business owner and a better person all the time.
Yeah.
And I think just as a person, that's what you should do. And you need to do if you want to elevate yourself in life in any way, honestly. So another example, let's say you're in a relationship and you're always fighting with your partner for some reason, and they're like telling you the same thing over and over again. Hey, you have no communication skill, this and this. And you're like, shut the fuck up. I don't want to listen, and blah, 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 blah. Where is that going to get you? The person's still going to feel this way and you think you know better, right? Have a discussion, see where you can come to an agreement and see what's bothering them and how you can fix that, and see if you come to a solution. If you just think they're wrong all the time and that they think that you're wrong, you're not going to solve anything.
Of course.
And this goes through all aspects of your life. So I built this skill definitely more as I aged. If you knew me when I was like 25, 26, I was still running businesses and I was still like always older for my age. But now that I'm 31, I've definitely matured a lot. I feel the most over the past 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially if you've been following me for that long, I'm sure you realize that too. But it comes with age and just accepting your flaws and realizing that you don't know everything and that you're not the smartest person. People can always help you if you listen. So
yeah, if you're willing to learn and to listen, for sure.
Yeah, so I think we'll end the podcast on that note. We ended the podcast 15 minutes ago, but then I decided to talk for another 15 minutes. So I really appreciate you guys tuning into this episode. Please, once again, I'm trying to build my YouTube channel too, and the more it grows, the more quality content I'm going to put out for you guys the best I can. So I had an idea too. I made a post about it. I'm going to train a few athletes and have like mic'd up. We're going to be mic'd up. We're going to have someone recording us. I'm going to do like raw footage of us, me putting them through a training session so you guys can understand how Bikini Olympian trains properly, what pushing to failure means, cues, right? Cues for different exercises, form, what proper form is, range of motion, rep rate, everything. And to get to that point where I can produce that type of content and even better content, you guys need to help my algorithm. Please, instead of DMing me your feedback or whatever, write in the comment, like the videos, subscribe to my channel, share with your friends, and write in the comments, because that's going to help the algorithm reach out to more people. And the bigger I get my YouTube channel, right, the more I'll be invested in it and the more I'll be able to put out quality content for you guys. And the more feedback I'll get from you guys, like the more you don't hold it in, tell me, hey, James, I disagree with you on this point. I think you're wrong. And I'll be like, if I agree with you, I'll be like, you're right on this point. You're right on this point. I agree with you. You're right. And I have no problem putting my ego aside when someone's right. No problem at all. No problem at all.
Yeah.
So please leave me comments on, especially YouTube, Instagram, whatever. I already have a big following on Instagram. I don't care as much, but the YouTube, I'm trying to build it new. And yeah, I would appreciate that, guys, very much. So thank you very much for joining us on this new episode of the Atlas podcast.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It was fun.
it was very fun. Thanks, guys. We have a great day.